Hello, I'm Pastor Aaron. Welcome to Redeemer Lutheran's Midweek Devotion. We're going to continue with this study of the word peace. And today I'd like you to jump from Genesis into the book of Exodus early on. We read in the first chapters of Exodus that there came a time when pharaohs and rulers came to power in Egypt who did not know or remember Joseph. Remember, Joseph was one of the 12 brothers, the sons of Jacob, and he had been sold into slavery by his brothers. And as God worked miracle after miracle in his life, he finally rose from slavery through some very unfortunate events to be what we might call the vice pharaoh, the second in command in all of Egypt under Pharaoh himself. And through him, then God saved his promised people, Jacob and his sons, and of course, the promise of a Savior. That's the most important thing, that God was working to preserve this promised Savior through whom he was going to work peace. But then the time came when there were leaders who didn't remember Joseph and the kindness he had shown to them. And so they, out of fear of the growing Hebrew population, they enslaved the descendants of Jacob. And it was miserable. You imagine that in the brick yards of Egypt, there were only demands, weren't there? More bricks, more bricks, more bricks. And if they made more bricks, of course, they just had to make more the next day. And when they started making them, and then the Pharaoh said, well, that's going too well, so then he took the straw away. So they had to still make more bricks, but they had to also go get the straw to make those bricks. It was just a horrible situation under which they were living. And the Bible tells us that they cried out to God. God heard their pleas. God heard their pleas and raised up one from among them, miraculously so. His name was Moses. Moses, because he was taken from the water. You may remember that account where his mother and sister placed him in a basket in the reeds along the Nile, and the daughter of Pharaoh found him there and rescued him, and he grew up in the Pharaoh's household. Through those events, God raised up Moses to be a deliverer for his people, really his messenger, so that through Moses he could deliver his people from slavery. I imagine the people always had peace with God, but you can see that in the brickyards they really didn't enjoy peace, did they? Sure, they had the confidence of knowing that God would hear their cries, but when you're enslaved and your will is not your own and you can't do what your heart desires and do the kind of worship that you would want, you're not at peace. Those people in the brickyards didn't have peace. But through Moses, God sent message to Pharaoh. It's a very important message. He says, let my people go. Walter Brueggemann, in a book, Living Toward a Vision, tells us that when God issues that proclamation in the brickyards are never the same. Move that to your life today. See, we can become slaves to all kinds of sin, all kinds of situations. We can be oppressed in any number of ways. But the confidence we have with our God is that we cry out to him, he hears us. Just like he did his people in Egypt. And when we cry out and he answers us, often his cry back to our captors, to our enemies, is, let my people go. And of course, that's eventually what happened. Pharaoh couldn't hold on to the people any longer. God made it so miserable for them through the plagues that he just couldn't hang on to those people any longer. And even when he tried to get them back, God thwarted his plans by drowning the Pharaoh's army in the Red Sea. That same God is on your side. And he has declared to your enemies, let my people go. And he's working those miracles in your life even now, just as he has already worked them at Calvary. Because you see there in Jesus' cry, it is finished, you can hear God saying to sin, devil, death, and hell, let my people go. And in the resurrection of Jesus, at Joseph's lovely tomb, as it stands empty, you can hear God saying, let my people go. And of course, in his words is the power to free us. I pray that whatever might be hindering you, that you will cry out to God for help, for forgiveness even. Whether it's sickness, whether it's another situation in your life that's difficult, cry out to God for help. God is saying to your enemies, let my people go. I pray that that will give you comfort and joy this week.